Avoidant women are notoriously difficult to attract and even harder to keep interested long-term. Their patterns of emotional distance, fear of vulnerability, and tendency to withdraw when things get too close make them seem unreachable to most men who try conventional approaches. But there are two specific qualities that bypass all those defenses and create wild attraction in avoidant women in ways that nothing else can. These aren't the things you'd expect or that traditional dating advice teaches. They're not about being more available, showing more emotion, or pursuing harder to prove your interest. In fact, they're almost the opposite of what conventional dating advice tells you about attracting women. These two qualities work because they address the core fears and needs that drive avoidant attachment in women specifically. They create safety and intrigue simultaneously, which is the rare combination that makes avoidant women drop their defenses and become genuinely attracted, rather than just managing distance. Most men approach avoidant women completely wrong. They either pursue too hard, triggering engulfment fears, or they're too emotionally available, which feels suffocating to someone defended against intimacy and vulnerability. But when you embody these two specific qualities consistently, you become irresistible to avoidant women because you're offering exactly what their nervous system needs to feel both safe and excited at the same time. Here's what actually makes avoidant women wildly attracted to men and why these qualities work when nothing else does. Thing 1. Genuine self-sufficiency and independence. The first thing that makes avoidant women wildly attracted to a man is authentic self-sufficiency. This isn't performed independence or strategic distance. This is you genuinely having a full life that doesn't require her to be complete. You have your own goals, passions, friendships, routines, and sources of fulfillment that exist entirely independent of her presence or approval. Your happiness isn't contingent on her attention or validation. You're not organizing your life around her availability. You're living fully whether she's there or not. And this genuine independence is magnetic to avoidant women in ways that neediness or availability never could be. Avoidant women are wildly attracted to self-sufficient men because it addresses their core fear of being needed too much. When a man is genuinely independent, when he clearly doesn't need her to be okay, the avoidant woman's nervous system relaxes. She doesn't have to worry about being responsible for his emotional state. She doesn't have to manage his needs or validate his worth. She doesn't have to fear that getting close will mean being consumed by his dependence on her. This freedom from responsibility is incredibly attractive because it removes the pressure that usually makes intimacy feel dangerous to avoidant women. Your self-sufficiency also creates intrigue because avoidant women are drawn to what they can't fully access or control. Subscribe for insights into attachment psychology that reveal what actually works with different attachment styles. When you have a full life that doesn't center her, when you have interests and relationships and goals that are yours alone, you become inherently more interesting. She wants to know more about you, understand what makes you tick, be part of your world. But she can only access your world if she shows up for it. And this requirement that she participate rather than being pursued creates the kind of dynamic where avoidant women actually become the pursuer because they're chasing access to someone who's genuinely interesting and unavailable in the right ways. The self-sufficiency that attracts avoidant women isn't about ignoring her or playing games. It's about you being so grounded in your own worth and your own life that her patterns don't destabilize you. When she withdraws, you're fine because you have other things going on. When she's inconsistent, you don't spiral because your emotional state doesn't depend on her behavior. When she needs space, you give it easily because you value your own space too. This unshakable groundedness in yourself is what makes avoidant women feel safe enough to actually move closer rather than constantly managing distance to protect themselves from the fear of being needed too much by someone who isn't complete without them. Why self-sufficiency works on avoidant women specifically. Self-sufficiency works uniquely well with avoidant women because of how their attachment patterns formed. Most avoidant women learned early that expressing needs leads to rejection, disappointment, or being burdened by others' needs in return. They developed independence as a survival strategy, convincing themselves they don't need anyone to protect against the pain of not having their needs met. When they meet a man who's similarly independent, who isn't trying to make her responsible for his happiness, it feels like meeting someone who speaks the same language. She doesn't have to explain or defend her need for space because you value yours too. The mutual independence also creates what avoidant women rarely experience: a relationship where she doesn't feel guilty for her patterns. When you're self-sufficient, her withdrawal doesn't hurt you in ways that make her feel responsible for your pain. Her need for space doesn't create anxiety in you that she then has to manage. Her inconsistency doesn't destabilize you in ways that make her feel like she's failing at relationship. This absence of guilt is deeply attractive because avoidant women carry a lot of shame about their patterns. And being with someone whose self-sufficiency means her patterns don't cause damage allows her to relax in ways she rarely can in relationship. Self-sufficiency also appeals to the avoidant woman's desire for an equal partnership rather than a dependent dynamic. Avoidant women don't want to be needed or needed by. They want partnership where both people are whole individuals who choose connection rather than need it. When you demonstrate genuine self-sufficiency, you're showing her that you're capable of the kind of partnership she actually wants. Two independent people who enhance each other's lives rather than one person trying to complete themselves through the other. This vision of healthy partnership is what she's been looking for, even if she didn't know how to articulate it. How to embody self-sufficiency authentically. Embodying self-sufficiency that attracts avoidant women requires doing the actual work of building a full life. You can't fake this. Avoidant women have finely tuned sensors for neediness and performed distance. If you're pretending to be busy while secretly hoping she'll notice and chase, she'll sense the inauthenticity and withdraw. You need to genuinely invest in your career, your hobbies, your friendships, your personal growth. You need to build fulfillment that exists whether she's in your life or not. This isn't about making yourself unavailable to manipulate her. It's about becoming someone who's inherently unavailable because your life is full. The authentic self-sufficiency also means you maintain your independence even when she's showing interest or moving closer. Many men become self-sufficient to attract avoidant women, but then become clingy or overly available once they have her attention. This inconsistency triggers the avoidant woman's defenses because it confirms her fear that men's independence is just a strategy to get close before revealing their actual neediness. You have to maintain your boundaries, your full life, your independence consistently, regardless of what's happening in the relationship. If you have plans with friends, you keep them, even if she suddenly becomes available. If you have goals, you pursue them, even if she wants more of your time. This consistency shows her your independence is real, not a tactic. Authentic self-sufficiency also includes being comfortable with her withdrawal and space needs without making it mean something about you. When she needs distance, you respond with ease rather than anxiety or hurt. You trust that her patterns are about her, not about your worth or her feelings for you. You give space without pulling away yourself, maintaining connection while respecting her need for autonomy. This security in yourself while allowing her to be herself is what creates the safety for avoidant women to actually explore closeness rather than constantly managing distance to protect against engulfment fears. Thing 2. Emotional unavailability without coldness. The second thing that makes avoidant women wildly attracted to a man is a specific type of emotional unavailability. This isn't about being cold, distant, or withholding. It's about you being warm and present but not emotionally dependent or demanding. You're enjoyable to be around, you're affectionate when together, but you're not pressuring her for emotional intimacy she's not ready to give. You're not asking where the relationship is going. You're not needing to know her feelings. You're not pushing for vulnerability or trying to get her to open up. You're simply being present without expectations, enjoying what is without demanding more. This quality drives avoidant women wild because it removes all the pressure they usually feel in relationships. Most men, once they develop feelings, start pushing for more emotional connection, more definitions, more vulnerability, more assurance that she feels the same way. This pressure triggers avoidant women's defenses immediately. But when you're emotionally unavailable in this specific way, when you're clearly enjoying her company but not needing emotional validation from her, she can relax. She doesn't have to manage your expectations or provide emotional labor she's not capable of giving. She can just be, and this freedom to exist without emotional demands is intoxicating to women who usually feel suffocated by men's emotional needs. Your emotional unavailability also creates challenge and intrigue. Avoidant women are used to men becoming emotionally invested quickly and then pursuing them for reciprocation. When you don't, when you remain somewhat mysterious and undefined in your emotions, she becomes curious about what you're feeling and thinking. She starts to wonder if you're as affected as she is, if you care as much as she's starting to care. This reversal, where she's the one questioning and seeking emotional information, is powerful because it shifts her from the defended position to the vulnerable position. And that vulnerability is what creates deep attraction in avoidant women who are usually too defended to feel much of anything. The balance between warmth and emotional distance. The key to this quality is the balance. You're not cold or rejecting. You're warm, engaged, present when you're together. You're affectionate physically. You're attentive to her. You make her feel desired and valued. But you're also not emotionally grasping. You're not trying to merge with her emotionally. You're not sharing your deepest feelings or asking for hers. You're not having talks about where this is going or what she wants from the relationship. You're keeping things somewhat light and undefined while still being genuinely connected. And this balance is what makes avoidant women feel both safe and excited simultaneously. This balanced approach works because it mirrors secure attachment while protecting against the avoidant woman's specific triggers. You're demonstrating you can be close without losing yourself, that you can be warm without being needy, that you value connection without requiring it for your well-being. The avoidant woman experiences what healthy relationship could feel like: closeness without pressure, affection without demands, connection without suffocation. This experience is novel for her because most men either stay distant and unavailable in cold ways she's used to, or they become emotionally demanding in ways that trigger her flight response. The balance also requires you to be comfortable with ambiguity and lack of definition. Avoidant women need time to develop feelings without the pressure of having to name or commit to those feelings. When you can let the relationship unfold without pushing for clarity about what it is or where it's going, you're giving her the space to actually develop real feelings rather than defensive reactions. You're trusting the process, trusting that if there's genuine compatibility and attraction, it will become clear naturally without forced conversations or pressure for commitment. This trust in organic development is attractive because it shows security and patience that most men lack. How to embody emotional unavailability without coldness. Embodying this quality starts with managing your own emotional investment pace. Don't become overly invested quickly just because you're attracted or because she's hard to get. Take your time developing feelings. Focus on whether you actually like her beyond the challenge she presents. Evaluate compatibility rather than just chasing attraction. When you're measured in your investment, when you're genuinely taking time to decide if this is someone you want rather than instantly deciding you want her, your emotional unavailability is natural rather than performed. This quality also requires strong emotional regulation and self-soothing capacity. When she withdraws or is inconsistent, you need to manage your anxiety without making it her responsibility. You don't ask for reassurance. You don't need her to explain her behavior. You don't pressure her for emotional validation when you're feeling uncertain. You handle your own emotions, self-soothe your own anxiety, and show up consistently without making her manage your internal state. This emotional self-sufficiency is intensely attractive to avoidant women because it means she doesn't have to take care of you emotionally, which is what she fears most about intimacy. The authentic version of this quality also includes being vulnerable when it serves connection, but not as a demand for reciprocation. You might share something about yourself that's meaningful, but you do it because it's relevant to the conversation, not because you're trying to get her to open up too. You're authentic about who you are without making your authenticity a pressure for her to match. You create space for emotional intimacy to develop if she wants it, but you don't require it or pursue it if she's not ready. This gives her the freedom to move toward vulnerability at her own pace without feeling like she's failing at relationship if she's not ready yet. Why these two things together create wild attraction. These two qualities, genuine self-sufficiency and emotional unavailability without coldness, work synergistically to create wild attraction in avoidant women, because together they address both sides of the avoidant dilemma. Avoidant women want connection but fear engulfment. They desire closeness but need independence. They're attracted to people but defended against intimacy. Your self-sufficiency proves you won't engulf her or make her responsible for your happiness. Your warm but emotionally unavailable presence proves closeness doesn't have to mean pressure or demands for vulnerability she's not ready to give. Together, these qualities create a dynamic where the avoidant woman can experience attraction without the fear that usually accompanies it when men show interest. The combination also puts you in a position of being challenged rather than pursuing. When you're self-sufficient, you're not chasing her for validation. When you're emotionally unavailable, you're not pressuring her for reciprocation. This means she has to do work to maintain your interest and access. She has to show up consistently to be part of your full life. She has to engage emotionally to understand what you're feeling and where you stand. This reversal, where she's pursuing access to you rather than managing your pursuit of her, is what creates the conditions for wild attraction, because avoidant women are most attracted to what they have to work to access and keep rather than what pursues them relentlessly. These qualities together also model secure attachment in ways that show the avoidant woman what relationship could be like. You're independent but not distant. You're warm but not needy. You value connection but don't require it for your well-being. You're emotionally regulated and self-sufficient while still being relational and engaged. This is what secure attachment looks like in practice, and experiencing it can be transformative for an avoidant woman who's never seen this modeled before. The attraction she feels isn't just sexual or romantic. It's the pull toward the possibility of a healthier way of relating that your presence demonstrates is actually possible. What these qualities don't mean. It's critical to understand what these qualities don't mean to avoid misapplying them in ways that become manipulative or harmful. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean ignoring her or being unavailable when she reaches out. You're still responsive when she reaches out. You still make time for her when you're together. You're still present and engaged when you're with her. You're just not organizing your entire life around her or becoming anxious when she needs space. Your independence enhances the relationship rather than preventing it from developing. Emotional unavailability without coldness doesn't mean withholding affection or playing games to seem mysterious. You're still warm, caring, demonstrative when appropriate. You make her feel valued and desired through your actions. You're just not putting pressure on the relationship to be more than it is in any given moment. You're not pushing for emotional intimacy she's not ready to give. You're not making demands about where things are going or what she's feeling. You're allowing the relationship to develop organically while being genuinely present and engaged with what is, rather than anxious about what it should be. These qualities also don't mean accepting poor treatment or having no standards for how you deserve to be treated. Just because you're self-sufficient and not emotionally demanding doesn't mean you tolerate inconsistency that doesn't work for you or patterns that are harmful to your well-being. You still have boundaries about what you need from relationship. You still communicate when something isn't working for you. You're just not doing it from a place of neediness or emotional grasping. You're coming from a grounded place of knowing what you deserve and being willing to walk away if this person can't provide it, which is actually another aspect of the self-sufficiency that makes you attractive to avoidant women in the first place.